Welcome to Intuition Unleashed, a revolution in personal liberation. The go-to podcast that helps you access intuitive guidance combined with mental health and spirituality. Let your intuition guide you and unlock a life of true liberation. And now your host, Becc Nelson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Intuition Unleashed. It's a revolution in personal liberation. Today, I'm excited to be joined by my guest, Maria Forland, and my name is Becc Nelson. I am your host today, and I am a licensed therapist. I am now a certified master hypnotherapist, which I got to put out there more, right? I'm ready to embrace this, Maria. I'd love to welcome you to introduce my guest, Maria. She is a spirit artist medium. You guys are in for a treat today because I've had my own time with Maria. And this is actually a topic I've been wanting to address on this show for quite some time because Maria, which she'll tell us more about, actually can bring forth the spirit in a picture form, which I'm going to butcher this, right, and not do it justice. Oh. But you're able to bring forth an image and draw the image of the person you're bringing forward, because you're a medium, onto your easel while you're channeling this person, which I actually experienced for myself. Now, I was amazed. So let's get right into this. But this is not the only thing that Maria does, everybody. So she is a spirit artist medium, a teacher. She is the founder of Zen Beauty, which is on beautiful Cape Cod, which I was so happy to know about because we're not that far from each other. And she is the creator of the PEMS two-handed drawing method, which she will demonstrate for us, which I'm really excited about. And she collaborates with researchers that study intuition, creativity, and consciousness. So through her work, she helps to bridge that gap between science and spirituality and guides others to trust their own intuition and express themselves through spirit art. And she's going to be telling us about some classes and things she has coming up. Really excited to have you on today, Maria. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you've just said a lot of words. That was a lot of words. But as we age, I think sometimes we identify with little pieces of ourselves, instead of the whole collective gigantic soul learning. It's more like, what are we doing now? What are we doing lately?
But it's all of it comes together to be Maria. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I'm really excited to share with our audience today. First of all is the spirit art, which we talked about a little bit, and you call it the PEMS method, which is the two-handed drawing method, which when I saw you do it, I'm like, I can't draw with one hand. So I'm fascinated by that. But also, you have worked with some researchers that mapped parts of your brain while you were doing mediumship work. And you're going to share some of what they discovered during that research. And you've done some work since then with some of these. Is it a neurologist that you work with? Or
no, he is a psychologist, a PhD, and a research scientist.
Fascinating, because now we're talking about when people say, give me the proof, right? This is real solid proof that intuition does guide us. And we'll get into that. So thank you so much, Maria. We are going to cover so much ground today. But first, I want to start with my signature opening question, because I feel like everyone has a time that they can identify in their lives when something happened that at the time didn't feel like a blessing, or it felt like, why me? This is horrible. But when you kind of look back at that time in your life now, you can see how it was actually an opportunity for growth and transformation and perhaps a blessing. So I'd like to ask you, do you have any experiences that you can connect with that and tell us a little bit about it?
Becc, how much time do you have? How just one? You want me to pick one?
You can give me, whatever it takes, Maria.
I get a couple in my mind, but okay. This is how I feel like I'm being intuitively led here, because it's not something that we often experience. But recently there was a big, huge boom that landed in Cape Cod, a meteorite fell into the Cape Cod Bay, and it rocked my house. Now, that's kind of like a memory for me, like what's happening, I need to get out of the house. If the house rocks, I need to get out of the house. Well, I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and in
Gotcha.
1994, there was an earthquake called Northridge earthquake, and it was a real it was a real experience for me. Um, when the earth shook, it took out my condo. Um, I learned a lot of things from that whole experience. Just I could even say one, two, three, because people ran out of their homes in this condo collective, and there were babies, and there were people running around naked. I mean, it was just in the middle. I think it was early morning, four-ish, 4:30, something like that. And we community came together. So, but I knew I had to get out of there. I mean, gas lines were exploding, water. I mean, it was
Wow.
drama. We are talking major drama. And as soon as I was able to get out of the city, which would be a 5-hour story, I moved and tried to find a safer location out of the zone, so to speak. So I wound up about 40 miles away, 35 miles away, like that escapes a zone. But I had a nice little condo there. And in the middle of the night, a lot of aftershocks occurred after the Northridge earthquake. And here I am in the middle of the night thinking, okay, I'm safe. Well, this was a big one. I mean, we call it a 5.2. That's a good sized earthquake. That'll shake you up a little bit. I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of the car. I got into my car. I needed to drive somewhere where I could be safe. This is all I could think of. So I found a field, like an athletic field, and, you look up, where's the pole? Where's the light? Could a fence fall on me? Is something going to fall on my car? I figured, well, if there's something that's going to fall, I can take off in my car. I just lost it. I cried a river. My heart was racing, and I know you're a therapist. What would one do? I didn't have anything to base my grounding experience on at that point. And I'm crying to God, whatever God was for me at that time. I felt like God was probably in a suit, dishing out delivery of, your penance. And I felt really, uh, I don't know, something come into me. Like maybe I felt like it could have been my dad, maybe saying to me, you are the safest place in your universe, my love. Honest to God, Beck, I will never
Oh,
forget that as long as I live, because I feel like I was touched by something beyond what I could have ever understood. And to this day, I know I gained a lot of momentum with that experience because I would say, look, you've gone through that. You can go through anything. You can go through emotional upheaval. When the earth shook under your feet. You've watched things swallow up. You've seen bridges fall. I mean, I'm going to be okay no matter what I face. But it was my safety wherever I could be. That's my God within me.
wow. Was that the first time that you had experienced anything like that? Like you basically heard spirit.
No, I think, we don't even know. I don't know. Sometimes I know when I was a child, I was growing up, things would always occur to me. It's hard sometimes when you don't have the training to understand what a boundary is, what you're thinking, and what is coming from the outer or unseen world. So, yes, I'm sure I was spoken to many times, given angel intervention. I'm not quite sure how to call it without sounding too far out,
Yeah,
because I
right.
don't live in the far out place.
Okay. And then like fast forward to the meteor hitting Cape Cod. Did you find that brought that story right back up for you?
Well, I think it made me like, what is happening? A meteor just fell out of the sky and landed in the Cape Cod Bay. I mean, that's not something you prepare for, and you might think about the possibility of what's to come. But again, go ahead, whatever's to come, I'm okay.
So really that's kind of what you learned back then.
Yeah,
Would you say
and I'm taking it
94?
still now.
Wow. So you found some peace right there in the middle of that field where you were trying to find some safety and you found it, but not where you thought you were going to find it.
No, I really wanted to be safe, Never dawned on me that I was the safe place, that
Oh,
I could create my safe place.
yeah. And then you move from LA. I mean, you're on the complete opposite coast now, 3,000
Yeah.
miles away.
Yeah. I have family here, or I had family here on the East Coast. I was born and raised on the East Coast. So I basically found my way back home. I guess I was about 50 when I returned back to the northern part, the northeastern states.
Someone said to me recently, and it really made sense to me, like uh, I moved to the West, somebody who is from New Jersey, right? And she said, I moved to the West Coast because I needed some healing and I needed to, find myself again. And then when I found myself and found some healing, I moved back to New Jersey to get shit done. That's what she said to me.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. I think that's kind of what I did too. Uh, you know,
The West Coast is where you find healing, and then here's where it comes. This is where the things get
come
pedal to
back
the
home,
metal on the East Coast. I
come
can
back.
relate to that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when I kind of read over some of the things here, some of your bio, you talk about some challenges with learning growing up. So, can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Oh, yeah, those are the deep, dark guts of the truth, aren't they? That's where the shame face comes in and goes, geez, I hated school. I had a hard time with school. I didn't like the smell of it. I didn't like the sound of it. I didn't want to sit there. I thought it was a waste of time. Look at all these crazy people running around. Especially like by the time I got into junior high, I hated that even more because then you have to switch classes and do all this other stuff. So it was kind of a challenge. It was a major challenge until I was um, more aware of myself again. About 20, I quit school. I quit school and said no. And actually, I quit school when I was 14 in front of a judge. My mother and father didn't know what to do with me. I can't, and school, of course, you can't just quit school when you're 14, 15 years old. You can't do that. So we had to go before a judge, and the judge said, "Well, good luck, and try to educate this one without and keeping her out of trouble." I wasn't a troublemaker. I just didn't want to go. You can't make me. I was sick. I felt sick every time I'd go to school.
Wow, looking back, what can you identify what that is? Like kind of looking back on it now?
I know now. I am a super hypersensitive person that runs on a different sometimes I think we even chatted a few times before it about I have anxiety. I manage anxiety. If anybody told me that I would be doing this and talking to you and being on this thing and that I would have thought you were out of your mind. But I know now that when you are meant to do something or you feel that burning passion, your guides or your angels or whatever you want to call it will help you get the work done. So it's not about the past wounding, it's about the joy of what's to come. We can't keep wearing the story.
it, you mentioned the word shame kind of when you first came on, or shame or guilt, I can't remember, or maybe both.
Yeah, probably both.
About that, because I'm sure, having come to know you, you probably were not happy with disappointing people.
No, well, I don't even think I cared. I just wasn't going to do it. It wasn't an option for me. It was just that clear.
And a judge was signed off that you could quit school at the age of 14.
Yeah.
What
And
did you
my
do?
mother and father took it upon themselves. They were lovely and gracious, darling people, and they helped me find a beautiful situation with a tutor, an artist. So I was actually working with he was from Ukraine, or he called it Ukraine at the time, Ukraine, and he was a gold medalist in his country. He was very serious, accomplished artist, a great artist, but I was his paint grinder, mixer, clean the studio, clean the space until I was worthy to pick up a brush, and then he would show me things. And um, so I spent most of from then till I was about, I think it was about 17, 18, then I was finding other channels because English wasn't his strong suit either. So I had no history, you know, no spelling, no math, no nothing.
Wow. So how do you feel like those challenges shaped who you've become today?
I'm tenacious. I believe what I believe. I know when it's right for me, and I will fight for what's right for me. I think that's important in a good way, not a fight, not don't put your dukes up. You know, you just have to be reasonable and try to um,
Advocate.
find the best and most suitable situation for your comfort, your own comfort. And in this day and age, man, that's a hard thing to do for people, I think.
Yeah, because I don't think any judge would tell a 14-year-old that they could drop out of school. Or maybe they would, I don't know.
I think that they would if the kid was strong enough to say, well, look, I would have run away. Probably, you know, I probably said those things. I'm not going, I'll run away, I'll jump off a cliff. I don't know what there was no reasoning with me. I know it.
So your struggles eventually revealed that you're tenacious and you didn't realize it at the time, but you were following your intuition. Like, this just doesn't match me.
Isn't that that's the most fabulous thing. I think in retrospect, even when I would choose friends, I knew, ooh, she's a rough one. Or, you know, when you meet people, even when you're a kid, you want to be friends with somebody. You don't know why. You know, you have that heart space that just, oh, hi, how are you? You know, do you want to be friends? But I would avoid people or even guests in the home. I would go, I don't like that person or whatever. And I think that's a wonderful thing that can be cultivated in this generation now, as we see the children coming up to help them develop the sensitivities and the gifts that we all have. But back in those times, you know, they weren't talking about these things.
Mhm.
This is amazing what's happening in our generation now.
That people that's being supported and encouraged.
Absolutely. Look at what we're doing. We're talking on this contraption here about about things that were only in hushed tones back in the day.
I wonder, if we were to apply modern day diagnoses, what would we have diagnosed Maria with back in the day? Was she autistic? Did she have sensory issues?
Yeah, probably tick all the boxes and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what she doesn't have.
Right, right. That's what modern medicine does now, is they have to put it into a box. What are
Yeah,
her
and
what are
I
her
don't
symptoms?
know.
And
I don't
wow.
know.
So this gentleman who took you under his wing really helped you to develop your art at that point.
Yes, yeah, he did definitely help me to develop my art. You know, in a classic way, in oil painting, and he did not want anything else, which is interesting because in my work now, I'm very specific. I almost feel like sometimes I could hear him in my head saying, "This is how we are going to work with this, and this is the only way we will do it now. And then you will learn this, and then you go and do your thing."
Oh, okay. So he was encouraging you to explore things like from your perspective, but you had to learn his way first, the
Yes,
foundations.
yes,
I
yeah,
see. Because I
yeah.
do
Old
hear,
way. Yeah.
okay, I do hear a lot of things about that. It's very important. The medium that you pick to work with is important. There's
Yeah,
fine
yes,
lines, there's brush strokes.
yes, but isn't that a double trouble? The medium of the medium, you know,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
that's
So
double
what,
trouble there.
so when you when you were like, phew, the judge said, okay, yep, we can take you out of school. It must have felt like a relief.
Oh, I was in heaven. And my friends would meet me after school at this little place where his studio was. You know, it was always on the way home, very small town. And they would wait for me. And then I would be released. He would say, okay, you're walking with your friends, you're walking home, or my father would pick me up, one of the two, depending on the weather, whatever. I didn't go far out of sight of my parents, though, I can tell you that. They had a pretty strong thumb on me.
Okay, so this is the basis of both your intuition, but also your spirit art, which we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
So start there because I am fascinated by spirit art, and I'm whenever I put it out there, this is what I need. Spirit always pulls us together somehow, don't they, Maria?
No,
We have
and how did you come to find out about spirit art as a medium?
I have seen it. I've seen people online, like when you connect with other people in the same interest or the spiritual community, you start to see people that do that and then put it up on their Facebook posts. And I'm like, these people that will put up pictures of the picture that they drew and then the actual person. And I'm like, but it blows my mind. Like, wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
So,
isn't that wonderful when that happens?
uh, I, so for listeners who've never heard of spirit art before, the term, can you tell them exactly what spirit art is?
Spirit art is a method of mediumship where one would draw the face, or I will say, clarify the essence of the person that has passed, or what we would call the spirit person, your loved one, or someone familiar. Uh, and it would be, for me, sometimes I'm happy if it comes through and they say, those are his eyes, or that is her hair, that is his chin. If anybody ever places it 100% in the pocket, I don't think that's the truth because it's just not. It's an experiment. But boy, when it happens, it takes your breath away. Let me tell you, when it looks like, and they go, oh, that's my father, and they send you the photograph, you go, whoa,
And
and
not only is it your father, right? But a lot of times it's a copy of a picture that you already have of your father, a portrait
yes, that's
of
a
that.
great way too. Yeah, that's even better. Or when it's surrounded by, or there's a blue ocean in the background and you just happen to put in the blue color behind them and they go, oh, that's even better.
Cool. So when did you first understand and recognize spirit art, and when did it become such an important part of your life and your work?
Well, that's a good one. I think it's about maybe 15 years, no, maybe more than that, probably 18 years, in a very strange class for meditation and I guess it was really sensitive exploration, basically, he called it. A 3-day retreat. He's like, well, we're going to use crayons and we're going to draw. And so there were little exercises about what we're feeling and what we're thinking and what we're doing. And I don't know what's going on, and actually I was kind of disappointed. There's not a lot of meditation in this group. I don't know what we're doing here. And I drew a face of a man with a gray crayon on a strange little scrap of piece of paper. And the partner that I was working with went, I don't know, that kind of looks like my uncle. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I cried. I felt odd. I had this weird sensation in my body that I wasn't familiar with either. And it was just the energy of spirit working with me, and I didn't know any of those things. So, I don't have any vocabulary, I have nothing to base it on, but the facilitator said, "Hey, you're a spirit artist. That's a thing. That's a real thing." And we talked about mediumship and spirit art, and he gave me some names and he helped me to understand that there's training for this and that there are people that do this, and we will find you a way. So that's kind of how it started with a crayon.
But your first experience with it was fear. Like what just happened?
Yeah, fear, absolutely. Fear. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not open to this.
No, and I didn't even equate it to art training, which was interesting because I think in your mind, when you're not open to the unseen possibilities of what you can do, um, you're just closed off. You're just not accepting even the remote possibility of the extraordinary.
I've brought this up in my show before, that when we realize what our gifts are, we can learn about different things and use different resources. We might use mediumship, we might use a pendulum, crystals, etc. But there's something that you've done in past lives, and you've done it in multiple lives, and it's just a matter of remembering and reconnecting with that. I don't know how you feel about that. And once you started doing it, did it just seem like it just came so naturally to you? Like, yep.
Yes. I wanted, and then when I really understood that it was a possibility, and that there were people that could teach me to understand, what had just happened. And it's very regimented in the early years of the training. I don't know if this is off topic of your question, but it comes to mind that we would sit and learn about ourselves. We did a lot of work in that's the early training. That's to hold your space, hold yourself. Maybe you won't even talk for 3 months. Somebody's going to be the medium this week, or we're going to try to figure out if you have psychic abilities. They work with you to figure out really what your strong suits are, if they're really good tutors, and then they kind of help to assess you and bring you to other places.
I love that you're bringing this up, Maria, because I feel like sometimes people try to bypass that process. People, when they hear that, I really want to try to do this work, it's just like, teach me now. Let's get it going. When can I start this? When are we gonna, let's get it going. And there's a part in there where you need to do your own inner work so that you can transfer that to other people. As a therapist, for sure, we had to do a lot of that, and it's tough work.
It's tough work.
Because otherwise you might transfer some of the things that you need healed onto the people that you're working with, and that's not.
Don't we still do it, even though we don't mean to?
Mm-hmm. Right, but it's, you need to go through that process. It's an integral part of learning to heal and serve others.
Yeah, I believe that's the truth of that's the bud of the bud with mediumship. And if you get me started on the 3-day classes and the certificates, and all of a sudden, you got it hanging on your wall and you're teaching people, then I'm terrified for you because that's right. Not for the others, but I'm terrified for you because everything's going to come your way.
Well, Maria, we have to unpack that, I think. I mean, that's fascinating. That's a great a message for other people, is you really have to do some of your own work. You cannot bypass doing your own healing in order to heal others. You have to get to walk through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to be coming to a break in a minute, but do artistic skills matter in this, or can anybody kind of participate in this?
Yeah, I don't think artistic skills matter. I think willingness and stability. Fearlessness is a good way to throw it in because you have to really put your big boy pants on when you're going to stand in. It's not like mediumship, where sometimes you can say, the verbal mediumship, well, I've got your father here, could be your grandfather. It's like sometimes we have to negotiate what it is that we're receiving. But when you're laying it out on a piece of paper, and that is Mr. Potato Head, you got to be tough. You got to go, yeah, it didn't work. I'll try it again.
So you have to have some humility, I guess, right?
Yeah, big humility. Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
necessarily have to be an artist. Or if somebody says, I can't really
No,
draw,
no, I
spirit
love
will
it.
work, they'll work through you.
Yeah, if you can't draw, I love you even more, because that means that you don't have the training where you're going to be precious.
I say, like, you put your, okay,
You
well,
know?
okay, then I'd be perfect for that, because I draw stick figures.
Yes, you would.
So believe it or not, we are ready for our break. We're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back with Maria, we're going to talk more about uh, spirit mediumship, artistic mediumship, and then why the two hands? We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Oh, two hands.
Are you ready to break free from self-sabotaging patterns and reclaim your power? I'm Becc Nelson, licensed therapist, spiritual mentor, and psychic medium, helping individuals achieve true personal liberation through my Beccology framework. This step-by-step system shifts your mindset, strengthens your intuition, and empowers lasting change. Work with me through single sessions, 90-day or 6-month programs, or explore my courses, books, and coaching. Visit becknelson.com to get started.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with part 2 of our spirit art episode, and we're talking to Maria Forland, who has moved her easel so she can actually show us some of her magic. So first of all, what is this PEMS method? Because you created this, and why 2 hands?
You know, I don't think that I did create it. I believe that it was kind of a natural occurrence. I did start drawing with the 2 hands when I felt frustrated because I was working with a pencil at the time also. And I have a great respect for the pencil, but I no longer use the pencil in any of my spirit art. I love this smushy pastel experience that I can get with this. And I don't really know I look back on some of the footage of the earlier parts of my development, and I was always moving. If you look at me from behind, there's something, and I'd had people also, help me to try to be more, I guess, better presented when you're, doing platform work. They try to, help you to develop some sort of decorum. And when this arm keeps flying around, and if I could just have kept that still, I would have been better off. So I think it was almost a frustration that something was leading me to continue to try to jump in. Go ahead, just jump in. So I just started ordering everything in twos and trying to work it out. And that's when I realized, though, this is the cool thing, Becc. It was my non-dominant hand that became most entertaining to me.
So you're saying that you were doing some of trying to do the spirit art. You were experimenting with it, and your non-dominant left hand began to sort of chime in almost involuntarily.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were like, okay, instead of fighting it, you just said, all right, let's go with it.
Let's see what I can do with my non-dominant hand. And sometimes it's a very pure state because I can't think that far ahead. It's almost just trying to put a mark on there and let myself go.
Wow. And that is a lot of self-trust because, like you said, you have to work out your own stuff before you go out on a platform, because you just have to kind of know that what you're doing is actually channeling something rather than getting in your own head and questioning yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I think it works well to move people from the precious part of making art. It's just by the time you figure out what you're doing, after you become relaxed, all of a sudden you've got a face in front of you. And when you're helping people lead through, okay, just simple things, simple shapes, almonds, triangles, let's make a circle or let's make a square, let's course correct, and you just start mushing things around. They're having a ball now. They don't even realize that they have done this with 2 hands.
Is this the first? Had you seen this before when you hadn't noticed that you were doing that? You had
No, no, I did not. No,
okay.
but I understand now too, though there is another woman, a spirit artist that I have respected for many years, and she works independently. She doesn't work simultaneously, but she works independently. She'll draw one face, and with the other hand, she'll be on another piece of paper. And just recently, um, with a lovely protocol in Theta, I was able to draw independently, but simultaneously 2 different faces.
Whoa.
So it's helping, it's bringing things forward for me, and it's more about the trusting of the opportunity of what we can do with our brain out of the way and tap into a deeper state of knowing.
Okay, let's show people because I've had an opportunity to see this in action.
Okay.
I know that you said it's difficult for you. You're a guest right now in a podcast, right? So you're not going to be bringing anybody forward right now. You're just going to demonstrate how to use two hands because it's not, the mediumship is not the space you're in your brain right now. Is that right?
Well, no, but if I start talking and it happens to be that way, then well, I'll just go with it. But
Okay.
otherwise, I'll just sit. So I have like five pieces of this pastel series in front of me. So I'll just pick a mid-tone here and see if I can do something with this. Uh, and just draw a face, right? You want me to draw a face or any, no, I'm
What
just
you're
teasing.
guided to draw.
I'm stalling because I feel like that energy is building just for a second, so I can just relax. I don't know, what's it going to be? A man or woman? Boy, girl? Okay. Okay, so I'm thinking this is going to be a woman here. With these with lovely well, see now I think this is going to be a lovely locks kind of a gal here. We've got some nice eyes and sultry eyes. I think she maybe could have been a little party animal in her heyday. Also, there's a part of things when you start thinking, well, I've got a mouth, I've got a nose, I'm not sure what I've got here, but I do know that her little face was a pixie amongst the mass of curls. And so, see now, I've got some kind of a work down here. Now, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see that pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll just put a little accent here and start what I call doing a little course correct. So she's a little prettier. And then I'll just put a little hint of a sparkle in her eye
Huh.
and maybe a little cheek and a little bit of a nose there. Yep.
Whoa. You just made that come out of nothing.
And sometimes, and I've seen this done with a master, and I was able to study under him, but he's no longer available for study. But he took all of his waste from the bottom of his deck, down, what we call the deck down here. And
Okay.
he started moving this pastel garbage around on the paper and developed a face with one of his, he did one hand. But yeah, we can do all kinds of things that's why I love pastel. You see, I can make her look more whimsy. Um, but see, the other part of the spirit art drawing and the way we can do it with two hands is, see, now here for demonstration, I could say, look, I can pick out I can pick out some iconography here, what we call iconography, or some little shapes that feel like they mean something to me. Like there could be one, two, three, four people in this family of hers. And maybe she didn't like that orangey lipstick so much and she wanted more pink on her lips. Maybe there's some squares here. So, she was a solid thinker, I would say. If I'm trying to read what I have put down because I was unconsciously working my hands.
You weren't paying
So
attention to the message. You were just, yeah,
So,
allowing the spirit.
yeah, language comes through when you can become more aware of it.
Wow. And I can't even draw with one hand. So when we talk about the clairs, are you using your clairs to receive messages to put this out there? Like, is it you hear things, you smell things, you see the person and you draw them?
I don't see the person. I don't know what I'm drawing until I see. That's the beauty of, okay, here's PEMS. Here's the PEMS now.
Okay.
Here's the way we enter into the paper. In mediumship, in the unseen world, we sit and we receive. Okay. I am more, I'm physical. So I'm receiving physically. on the paper. I don't know what it is until I start squirreling around. Well, just exactly what happened. I don't know. Maybe it's a boy, maybe it's a girl, maybe it's a man, maybe it's a woman. Whoops, she's got long hair. Why did I do that? I don't know. Every face is different. And if there's a lip that continues to look like the same lip after 5 drawings, you quit. It's like there's something wrong here. Your brain is in the way. Every drawing should be absolutely, absolutely different. Even if if I practice in the morning and I've got 2 lips going on the same, like the second page, I'm like, okay, I got my brain in the way here. Because we're all so unique.
Okay. I mean, in my head, I'm like, okay, that could be this person or this person as you're talking. But oof, when somebody begins to draw this way, what happens to them mentally or emotionally? What changes?
I have felt the presence of the angels when this is ignited within others. I just look at sometimes I look at some of the students that have been with me. This is a true story. Okay. She's going to be in Dr. Tarrant's class with me. Um, she misunderstood what I was trying to say. And I somehow had instructed the group, I want you to do an upside down link. And my term of the upside down link was the spirit artist is not going to be the one to hold the link. I want the medium to work with the spirit artist. So they're practicing. So now
Okay.
the spirit artist is working away, and then she holds the board up after she's done, and she had to turn it around. And I said, and everybody said, no, she drew it upside down. She drew the face of this fellow upside down. It was identified, it was taken, it was a little squirrely and kind of morphed, but it was definitely the cheeks and the eyes and the bald head with a cross. And she
That
drew
she
it
drew upside down.
with her 2 hands, just moving along and trying to get out of her way. And yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, okay. So Hugh, let's get into this other part, right? Because this is where
Okay.
the science comes in.
Oh,
This is about brain mapping, neuroplasticity, and then conscientiousness research. You mentioned that you got involved with Dr. Jeff Tarrant. Is that how you say his name?
yes, yes.
And psychic mind science. So how did you become involved with him? And tell me a little bit about his work and
What's going
what he,
on? Yeah.
yeah.
We live with the synchronicities, and if we follow the bread trails or the breadcrumbs, as they call it, and this is the weird one because I met him about 10, 11 years ago, we figure at a conference. And he mapped my friend's brain on stage at this conference when he was just starting to talk about his research. This is nothing new. This has been around for long, more than 20 years for sure. Um, and I was so taken and here's my friend, and here's her brain up there on the screen. They're just like, okay, give us a contact. And she was a sturdy medium. She's fearless. She's fearless even today. It would have never worked on me. I would have just thrown up, you know. But she was there. She held the link. Her brain changed. You could see it on the screen. Oh, there it goes. The one that's supposed to be aware and doing things, that's shut down completely. And then he's prompting everyone to follow where her brain is moving. And everything shut down except for this back lobe, which, all the vocabulary is not in my wheelhouse. And I thought, oh my God. And I still have a picture of her with this 19 channel bathing cap with all these electrodes attached to her head. She's just standing up there like this, giving the reading. And okay, so that's my first meet. And then I think I worked with him on a project in this class. Nice man, never thought about it again. Years later, I have a group, and this woman says, I don't know anything about this frequency stuff. I don't know anything about what, the sound and the frequency with the brain. And I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't even know what you're talking about, honey. I'll find somebody to help you. So he was the only person that I had ever known that did this. I mean, I've met a lot of physicians that studied different parts of the physiology and, orbital blowouts and stuff like that, but I'd never heard of this. So I called him out of the blue. I researched him on Facebook. He just happened to be putting a book together. I'm like, just about to be published. And I said, look, I don't know anything about it. I'm just wondering. And here he is, a chief scientist, and I'm asking him to come to my circle and talk to the ladies. And and he, I said, we can give you $30 a piece. I just wanted to get,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know. I don't need any money. I'll show up. And he did. He generously came in and answered questions. And, um, and so then I said, I'm in with this. I want to take a class from this guy. So I did. I took a class with him. I learned to use the AVE, this audiovisual entrainment system that he uses to help people with all kinds of problems. That's a whole nother story in itself. But in one of the episodes that we were involved with in one of the early classrooms, I draw every morning. So I had a face on the board. And one of the ladies in the class said, that's my uncle there. And he didn't know anything that I did. He didn't, I'm not standing up going, hey, I'm in the back room. I'm got my head down. I don't want anybody to even know I'm there. That's my MO. And so he was like, what's going on here? And I said, well, I'm a spirit artist, I mean, I serve churches, I'm not out there blowing some kind of magical trumpet. I'm just in the trenches. And he's like, well, let's talk about this some more. I went into another class and I learned some different protocols about stress management, um, sleep, um, brain boosting. And I started feeling more comfortable with it. And we started working together. And the first time we did a retreat together, he brought his paraphernalia to map my brain. So here we are. I'm teaching the retreat. There are people around us, and I'm supposed to draw with this thing attached to my head and my ears, and yeah, clips on your ears. And he had never mapped somebody moving like that. When you're usually in this situation, you're trying to be very, very still and not make any extra movements other than the normal stuff, the blinking and the breathing and the, facial movements. So it was an interesting experiment for both of us, but I was terrified. That was another moment of my life where I just said, yeah, big girl, put your big girl pants on, do it anyway. Try it. Just try it. You're not going to die.
So the brain mapping then is he puts this cap on your head, attach these electrodes because he's trying to see what parts of your brain are active as you're engaging in this spirit, in your case, spirit art.
Yeah, yeah. What part of the brain is actually disengaging?
And what did you find that the part that was activated and disengaged was the same as what you had seen with your friend
No,
before?
no, and that's the beauty of everything that we're learning is every single person is different. Every brain is different. There are definitely cohesive factors in many of the studies and certain parts of the brain which go offline. And again, I'm out of my pay grade. But um, what I do know is that I was terribly disappointed because I wanted my brain to be in that one state that is classified, yeah, pretty much the mediums that he studied go into that wavelength. And I said, well, what's wrong with me? I mean, I was humiliated. Like my brain didn't work. And he's like, your brain works fine. You just figured out a way to work with two hands and talk at the same time. Now, see, that's a problem for
Oh,
medium. This is another two-handed way to get out of that method of pencil, talk, pencil, do the whole thing, talk then. And that's, it's like, well, if you've only got uh, 4 to 6 minutes or 7 minutes in decorum to make a contact and then continue on with the next contact. You gotta slam it in there. I think that's part of where the speed drawing came in, that I wanted to do well. So
oh,
I had to get in
okay.
contact.
So you have been introduced to concepts like frequency, coherence, and neuroplasticity through this research and this work. What do
Yes,
these
yes.
terms mean to you today?
What do they mean to me today? Neuroplasticity?
Yeah, talk a little bit.
That's my big flag runner. That's my big flag, neuroplasticity. I'm aging. Um, I want that it just it means something else to probably a neuro research scientist. But neuroplasticity to me is just simply connecting new pathways of the brain to allow for more possibility. Like a stroke patient, for instance, or trauma, something in the head in trauma. They know now that the brain can overcompensate, find a new way, find a new pathway to do something that the brain in that area used to do. So it's adjustable and adaptable. That's neuroplasticity to me. That's why I love it when I ask people, start brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Start realizing how much you do with your dominant hand and how much sleeping is done with your non-dominant hand.
To create those new pathways.
Yeah, we can create those new pathways just by simply starting to but here's a good one. If a person is grieving, this was an interesting exercise that was given to me. When I was grieving, the fellow said to me, "You're reaching, I'm getting a box of Kleenex, okay? And I'm in this office and I'm reaching for a box of Kleenex and I'm getting my Kleenex with my dominant hand." And he goes, "Let's try to break that up a little bit, all that grief." He goes, "Why don't you try reaching for the Kleenex with your other hand and change your mind?" So I did. But it was simple steps like that, that you can pull somebody back home.
Change your mind, meaning pull yourself through this grief.
Yeah, not just cry about it. Let's talk about other ways we can manage it.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
isn't that cool?
yeah, so science is starting to like catch up with experiences that spiritual practitioners have been describing for years.
Oh, science has been around for a very, very, very long time. And that's why one of my favorite American psychics of all time, the one that has been under the greatest scrutiny that we could ever possibly know, and that would be Ingo Swann. And he was the most researched and most documented under duress and experiments of any medium that has ever been documented. So I think that mediumship now is starting to catch up with the fact that science has been doing this for a long time. And it's not just spirit, it's real work that's been done. Oh, it just lit up.
That was
That
happening.
punctuated that one.
It's like you're kind of like, is this AI or like it does seem to, if everybody caught that, the picture does seem to flash. And it's almost like they're saying, yes, that's true, or they're highlighting something you
Yeah.
said. That's what
Yeah.
I experienced when I met with you too myself. I was like, did that just light up? And you're like, sometimes the mouth moves. You say, wow. So what excites you the most, you think, about the future of this conscientiousness work and research?
Well, I would love to have the organization that I'm involved with now is part of Jeff's work as well, and this is a nonprofit organization. This is called ESCRI, Expanded States of Consciousness Research Institute, and I would love to see some of these spirit artists with the two hands um, flourish. It is my dream that people can recognize this as a way not just to be a medium. It's way beyond that. It's about living your life to the fullest. It's about experiencing simple things in a deeper way. And it starts with children. Um, there's so much work to be done. That's all I have to say. There's so much work to be done.
So if there was like one thing that our listeners would take away from this conversation, what do you hope that that would be?
What day is this color going to be?
Say more about that.
Feel color. breathe color, think deeply about the food choice you make, about the color of the food you make, the colors that you wear. Why are you driving a blue car? Use your non-dominant hand. Reach for things that you do not know and stop uh, making the judgment of what it is that you think you must know.
Put your ego aside and just
Yeah.
let things flow.
Open up to the possibility. Learn new things. Learn more about yourself. It's not just about everybody's a medium. In the old way that we used to say, you're a psychic or you're a medium, and if you're a medium, you got to be a psychic. But if you're a psychic, you don't necessarily. We're all born with it.
It's just what do you decide to
If I
do?
could, yeah, if I could hold on to anything and I could say to everyone that could ever possibly listen, you are everything. You just have to learn a new vocabulary.
Just like you came, your message at the beginning, you are your safe space. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, honey.
Maria, spirit art, neuroplasticity, conscientiousness. I'm so excited about what our listeners were able to see today. Your website is listed under your picture. Please, Maria is going to be doing some classes coming up with the doctor that she discussed today. Please go visit her website, find Maria online, and learn more about her work. Maria, we know that you've been doing some important things. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. Thank you so much, honey. You're just a delicious person.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your work, darling.
Loved having you on. Thank you for bringing us a neuroplasticity to our world today.
God
We love
bless.
you. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Intuition Unleashed. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. But before you go, we have one little challenge for you. Most of us have sneaky little habits that hold us back and trip us up, so why not take this not at all uncomfortable quiz to find out what you do to derail yourself from achieving your goals and how you can call yourself out on your own BS. So get to know your self-sabotage specialty and take the first step towards getting out of the way of your own success. Just visit https://becknelson.com/quiz and take the quiz now. That's becknelson.com/quiz, and we can't wait to see your results. As always, we'll be back next week with more Intuition Unleashed. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening.